level M, list 6, day 1, and we're looking at some more contractions. So we've got I've for I have, you for you have, they've for they have, we've for we have, could've for could have, should've for should have, would've for would have, I'd for I would, he'd for he would, she'd for she would, we'd for we would, you'd for you would, they'd for they would, who'd for who would. So you can see in these words, when we're making have into a contraction, we're actually taking out the H and the A. So we're taking out more than one letter. When we're contracting these words into she would, for example, we're taking out quite a few letters there rather than just one letter. So the apostrophe still goes in where we've taken out the letters. Now the big thing to be aware of when you're saying any of these words where you're making the have a contracted form into v, that you are saying v, not of. So when you're listening to other people speak, you may hear them say I could of, but it should be I could with the v there. Could have contracts to could have. So it's a very fine line, but just make sure that you say it correctly. So let's go back and we're going to read the word, sound it, spell it and write it. So I've got I've, I apostrophe V-E, cover it, I apostrophe V-E. You can do the rest of those on your own. This is level M, list 6, and we're doing the day 2 page, and here we have some more contractions. So we've got I for I have, you've for you have, they've for they have, we've for we have, could've for could have, should've for should have, and would've for would have. Just make sure that you don't say I could of. It should be no, I could of. So we want the V sounding here, not the of sounding. So could have contracts to could of with the V sound, with the V sound. Okay, so what you have to do here is read the word, sound it, spell it and write it. So I've got I've, I apostrophe V-E. And when you're doing that V sound, your teeth are sitting on your lips. Okay, so down here it says read the sentences and write the contractions for the words in the brackets. I have never been on a plane before would contract to I've. So you put your capital I apostrophe V-E. You can fill the rest of those on your own. Write the 2 words, circle the letters to be left out and write the contracted word. We've done this a few times now, so you know to write I've as I have, and then circle the letters you're taking out and rewrite the contracted form. So you've is short for you have. We're going to circle the HA and then write it again in its contracted form. Okay, you can finish those off. Down the bottom it says read and fill the gaps with a list word. My friends just came back from their holiday. Something just landed at the airport. Something gone with them, but I had to have missed school, missed them while being away. So you can work out which of these words up here would fill in those spaces. This is level M, list 6, and we're doing the day 3 page, and we have contractions again. So these contractions are I'd, which is short for I would, he'd, which is short for he would, she'd, which is short for she would, we'd, which is short for we would, you'd, which is short for you would, they'd, which is short for they would, and who'd, which is short for who would. So you have to read the word, sound the word, spell it and write it. So I'd, I apostrophe D, cover it, I apostrophe D. You can finish those. Write the contractions for the words in the brackets and finish the sentences. So I'd prefer to go swimming tomorrow instead, so we put I would contract to I'd. You could finish off that one, change it. Now this time you actually have to use she'd in a sentence, we'd in a sentence. So you've actually got to write the sentences there. Down the bottom you've got the same pattern happening here. Write the two words, circle the letters to be left out and write the contracted word. So I'd is short for I had, I'd, and he'd would be he would. So we put he and would, and circle what you're taking out of that, and then write the contraction on the end. So down the bottom you have to read and fill in the gap with the missing list words. So these are the words that you're choosing from to finish off this story down the bottom. This is level M, list 6, and we're doing the day 4 page, and we're looking at dependent clauses and complex sentences. So dependent clauses are formed when a clause, which is a subject and a verb pair, is preceded by a subordinating conjunction. So here we've got some subordinating conjunctions. We've got after, as, although, because, before, how, if, since, than, that, though, till, unless, until. There's quite a few coordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunctions attach themselves to the clause that follows, making it into a dependent clause. So make the clause, which is currently independent, so we are running late, the rat hid under the cupboard, Linda bought a new computer, the umbrella disappeared. They're all independent, but we're going to change them into a dependent clause by adding a clear subordinating conjunction ahead of it. So these are the words that you're going to choose, one of those to go before each of these independent clauses to change it into a dependent clause. So something we are running late, let's have a look at them. I think probably the best one to fit in there would be since we are running late. You can work out the others on your own. A complex sentence contains an independent clause and a dependent clause. A dependent clause needs an independent clause. You can't just have a dependent clause on its own. You've always got to link it to a dependent clause. So join the independent clause to the dependent clause using a conjunction. And we've given you the 4 conjunctions here. You've got if, as, since, until. It was a shame he left since the show had not finished. You can work out the best clauses to join together there and the conjunction that you're going to use. Now down the bottom you have to write 3 of your own complex sentences. So when you're joining an independent clause to a dependent clause and using a subordinating conjunction, you're forming a complex sentence.